When we come home from a long day of teaching kids or laying pipe, we find a long list of responsibilities just waiting for us at home, like wrangling our kids or taking them to their activities, cooking a meal, doing the laundry, or just picking up everyone else's shit.
And how did we decide to use the minute amount of free time that we actually do have? We gave ourselves yet another job and we started a podcast.
We wanted a space where we could talk about the things we love, such as sports, movies, music, and our families.
And we also wanted a place to vent about the things that bother us, like our coworkers, or if our favorite team missed the playoffs in the last game of the season, or if McDonald's decides that they don't have any large lids, even though they're a huge company that should never have that problem. You know, when I think of the dynamic of our podcast, I think of myself as like the tough power forward like Owen Nolan, where you kind of remind me of a speed finesse type player like Patrick Marleau.
I see what you're saying. When I look at our dynamic on the podcast, I see myself like Thierry Henry, smooth like butter on the pitch, ready to score that goal. And I see you like Zinedine Zidane, ready to headbutt any asshole that gets in your way. We talk about these topics and so much more on Level the Playing Field. Check us out wherever you listen to podcasts.
Please be advised, Mental Health Mondays deals with some heavy topics and subjects, such as mental health, suicide, sexual assault, and more. Please listen at your own discretion and please seek professional help if you are struggling. Thank you and enjoy the episode. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Nuggiez. This week I want to talk about age, anxiety, age, getting older. As of the day of me recording this, I am officially 1 month away of turning 30. Honestly, it's scary to even say, and I've never really been one to care about age or getting older, like it is what it is, but the more I sit back and reflect, the more I realize just how little I've done in my 20s. Part of that's my own fault. Part of that's lockdown and COVID, which sort of just, I don't know, it's kind of sad to think about. But at the same time, who determines what we should and shouldn't have done by a certain age? Like, why do I feel this anxiety and this guilt about turning 30 and what I haven't done? Because who's to say I haven't done enough or have done enough? Who wrote those rules? I didn't. I didn't give me a checklist to make sure that I'd done everything that I needed to by the time I was 30. It just makes you think, like, how as society have we come to this conclusion? Because I know this isn't just a me thing. I know as we get older, especially the 10-year milestones, like the 30, 40, 50, so on and so forth, we tend to really reflect and then we start to overanalyze and we start to get really high anxiety about what's to come. What have I missed out on? What haven't I done? When in reality, who cares? In reality, everything that I could have done that I haven't done in my 20s, I can do later on in life. And it's the same for anyone. You know, I understand as we get older, some of us want kids and we want to, have a family and settle down. Whereas for me personally, unfortunately, due to a previous injury that's a permanent injury, I'm advised not to carry kids. It's too dangerous. So I've already come to that conclusion that that's not in my future. It took me a long time to get there and to fully understand that what I once wanted is no longer an option, but I'm okay with that now. But if I'm okay with that, then why am I so high anxiety about not completing the things that I wanted to in my 20s? Like, if kids aren't in my future, what's holding me back? Yeah, okay, there's money. If I really wanted to do something, I'd save for it. So what's my excuse? Why is it now that I'm sitting here in my office at the age of 29, a month away from turning 30, going, what the fuck have I done with my life? When there's no one to say what I haven't done is right or wrong. Why do we do this to ourselves? As time's progressed, as time's gone on, society has changed, but yet small things like this never change. We always compare ourselves to someone else or hold ourselves to a high standard or compare to someone else who in our eyes is at a high standard. Like, I have a friend who's done nothing but travel as much as she can, take COVID out of it obviously, but She's been to so many different places. But then I look at the circumstances. I moved out of home as soon as I could. Granted, I was kicked out of home at 14, but moving in with my dad, I moved out, I don't know, I think maybe 19 or 20. Even before then, I was still paying rent. Like, I always paid to my dad. I helped pay for bills. Like, it's just something I've always done. We had to. As soon as you had a job, you had to help put in. That was just the ethic in our home, and then I move out and then I'm paying rent and I'm paying for all my own stuff, and, you do what you got to do. Now, I don't drive, so I don't have car expenses, but I do have travel expenses because I don't have a car. So it's not like I'm losing or gaining more for either or. Whereas my friend who traveled, she's just turned 30 last month, and she's done all this traveling, but she's only been out of home a couple years, and her mum still pays for her car, and she still gets help from other places, and she's in a share home, so she's also got that added ability. So when you compare, like, why am I comparing myself to her? Why am I sitting here going, well, if she's done all this, why haven't I? When reality is that we're two very different circumstances. And it's the same with anything. I have other friends who've married and have kids, and now, like, as I said, kids aren't on my books, but marriage and such is. I'd like to hope it is. But why do I feel like I should have done that already? Why do I feel like that was a necessity before 30? You can get married at any fucking age, who cares? It's just crazy to me that we sit here and look back and reflect over our lives and go, why haven't I done this or that, and this person's done this by this age, but I haven't. But, like, who cares? Who cares? There's no unwritten rule to say that I should have done this by now. It's the same with weight. Like, I've always fluctuated with weight. I was extremely underweight and diagnosed anorexic in early high school. Then I started to gain weight as in my early 20s, which was fine. I needed to. But then I was able to just keep putting on weight. And then COVID hit. And then, couldn't do anything. And I gained more weight. And, I'm nowhere near where I would like to be. And as a young girl, because of the image that my own mother put in my head, you should be this petite, clear skin, no tattoos, all appearances type young lady. And then I look at myself now and I'm chubby, tattoos, don't give a fuck what other people think for the most part. I definitely don't have clear skin. And I just sit back and I think about it, and I'm like, for so many years I tried to hold myself to the standards that my mum wanted me to, even though she's not even in my life anymore. So now I've got this voice in the back of my head that's going, you're gross. You're overweight. You need to do this. You need to do that. You're going to regret your tattoos. You're going to... It's a vicious circle. So then I sit here a month away from being 30 and go, wow, have I wasted all this time? Should I have been in the gym every day? Should I have focused more on drinking more water maybe? Should I have not have any of the tattoos that I have? Should I not be podcasting? Have I wasted my time with this? And then the voices, the ideas, the standards just keep going over and over and over and over in your head. And it's just like, why? Why should I care? I'm here for the most part, despite what this podcast might tell you. I'm usually at least content if I'm not happy. I have a roof over my head. I have beautiful niece and nephew who I treat like my own kids, plus my 2 fur babies. I have a job. Why do I care? Why do I care? I'm a month off from being 30 and I'm ahead of a lot of other people I know. But I'm also behind in comparison to a lot of people I know. But who cares? We need to stop holding ourselves to these high standards, and we need to stop giving us a reason to have anxiety. We've all, as a society, especially my age group and younger, everyone seems to be quote unquote diagnosed with anxiety or depression or something. And as someone who's had both most of their life, I'm not, disapproving or disagreeing that anyone does or doesn't have it by any means. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psych. I'm not anything like that. But in saying that, a lot of this is stuff that we've put on ourselves. It's not always just trauma. It's not always situational. A lot of the time, it's something as stupid as what we see on the news. It's social media. It's all these ideologies that we need to be a certain way and have progressed to a certain point in life by a certain age, or by each age, like every 10 years is like a different milestone. We should have done something. I didn't do this in my 20s, I'm going to do it in my 30s. I haven't done it in my 30s, I should do it in my 40s. Oh fuck, I'm 50 now and I still haven't done it. Oh my god, what have I done with my life? Like, no, that is not a way to live. We should be living our lives day to day. We should be living our lives the way we want to live our lives, the way we see fit, not the way that media shows, not the way that our friends or family show. Every single person is different. Every single person has their own journey, and we should be living it like that. We need to stop beating ourselves up. We need to support each other. I started this podcast thinking no one would listen. This was a reason for me to vent. Well, this episode, I'm hoping you guys listen, and I'm hoping you actually take something away from this. Because it needs to be said. It needs to be heard. We are not less of a person for not living up to society standards. You're not less of a person for not living a certain way or how other people want you to live your life. This is your journey. This isn't their journey. This isn't media's or governments or any of that sort of bullshit that other people bring into these sorts of conversations. This is your journey, no one else's. You live your journey the way you want to live it. I have a friend who's been telling me how they feel like less of a parent, less of a father, because they're working. And believe me, I get that. I can understand why you would think that you're less of a person for working, but at the same time, those moments you do have with your kids, they will cherish you for it. But at what point did you come to that conclusion that you were less of a father for it? Who put that seed in your mind? Who are you comparing yourself to? Who are you saying that is a better father and that's where I should be? Or better mother, that's where I should be? Do you provide for your kids? Yes. Do you still spend time with your kids, which they do? Yes. Do you spend a bit more time working than you should have? If you feel that way, sure, but do something about it. Ask for less hours, ask for certain times, ask for this, ask for that. You know, we need to be putting ourselves first. We need to be making sure that our journey is our own and that we're not being influenced by others around us. So as I sit here today, a month away from being 30, saying, woe is me, I didn't do what I wanted to do, I'm going to flip that switch. I'm almost 30 and I have a career. I'm almost 30. I have a house above, a roof over my head. I have a well-paying job. I have a little family, but it's all the family I need. I have 2 amazing cats. I've done small, very minimal traveling, but I've done it. I've gotten out. I see people. I'm almost 30 and I've blocked out a lot of toxicity in my life. So why am I sitting here bringing myself down? Why am I here saying I should have done more? This is my journey. This is where I'm at. And this is where I need to be. I start a new role at my job in 2 days at the time of this recording. Shit is always changing. Shit will always change. But it's my journey and it's the right journey. And I'm going to turn 30 in a month and I'm going to fucking enjoy myself and I'm not going to hold back and I'm not going to let these ideologies in society contribute or control who I am. And I suggest you don't either. Go out and live your life. Live it to how you want to live it. Don't live it to other people's expectations. This is your life, not theirs. And with that being said, I'm going to actually end today's episode. I do want to say one thing before I do though. I know the past year has been very wishy-washy with this podcast in relation to scheduling and how often I can actually post. I have decided that I'm going to dedicate and make sure that I actually post twice a month. I cannot hold myself accountable to be able to post weekly. I've tried. It doesn't work. Between work, this podcast, my other podcast, and just life getting in the way, it's way too much. So expect an episode every 2 weeks from the release of this episode. I thank you for all the support. I think we're 2 months shy of a year of doing this podcast and the reception has been absolutely unbelievable. And it's all thanks to you guys. So I thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day and you'll hear from me in 2 weeks. Bye guys. Thank you for listening to Mental Health Mondays. If you or anyone you know has a story to tell, whether that is mental health related or even just an anecdote for my other episode in the week, Sweet and Sour Nuggies, please get in touch with us via email or via our social links. You can find us on both Twitter and Instagram at @SSNuggiezPod, that is SSNUGGIEZ pod, or you can email us at nuggiespod@gmail.com. Once again, this has been your host Ebony, and thank you for listening.